Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you've been watching my videos for a while now, you must have heard me use the word personal branding a gazillion times by now. In an earlier video, I did speak about the 5 P's of personal branding, but in today's video, I'm going to take you through the process of creating a personal brand step by step, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're a pageant contestant or just a freelance model or just someone looking to make an additional source of income. This video is for you. Now, before we dive into the steps that you have to follow to create a personal brand, we have to understand why is having a personal brand so important these days. Your brand is what people visualize before you enter the room, when they've just heard your name. And your brand is what is doing the work, whether you go into an interview room to apply for a job, whether you go for an audition for a commercial or a fashion show, when you send your pictures to a modeling agency, because so much of our career's success and our consumer reach these days is based on the number of people that know about you and believe in the value that you have to offer. There are so many situations, both personal and professional these days, where we have to persuade others to recognize our value and the work that we have put into ourselves, whether you're applying for a job or interviewing for a role, or pitching your startup to investors, or even just making your dating profile. And so, whether you like it or not, in today's world, everyone is a personal brand. And so, you have to learn how to develop yours and be comfortable marketing it. The first step to identifying what your personal brand has to be about is the most crucial. And that's where most of us get stuck and we have no idea what our brand can be about. To a lot of people, it comes naturally. To a lot of people, it just happens coincidentally in their life. And for a lot of people, it takes strategic brainstorming. Now, if you're the third type, then this step is useful for you. All you have to do is jot down your defining life moments. This is a self-awareness exercise of sorts. And I do this with a lot of pageant aspirants that work with me for their pageants and titles. And the most important step is for me to be able to understand what matters to them the most and what problem can they solve with the platform that they're about to get. And to be able to come to a decision of whether your personal brand is going to be about entrepreneurship or whether it's going to be about women empowerment or it's going to be about taking the road less taken, or it could be about mental health or community growth. If you're a pageant aspirant, I'm pretty sure at some point you have wondered which of these brands should be your brand. And the answer is maybe none of them, because all of the things I just said are just so surface level. In order for you to understand what is going to be your brand about, you have to journal, you have to look at those turning points in your life, which eventually led to your deeper understanding and deeper concern for the topic of, for instance, women empowerment. And this could be the time that you were not paid an equal salary to your male counterparts. It could be when you were not taken seriously on the playground because you are a girl trying to become an athlete. Or it could be when investors did not simply invest in your venture because of being a female entrepreneur. The second step to now further building on your brand is to mirror your experiences. And this means to look at your life story that you have written down now from a third person perspective. Think of yourself as an author who's about to write your autobiography, or maybe even just a biography. And if you were writing the life story of this person, what would be the highlights? What would be the turning points? And what would be the most inspiring events that you could take out of her life? For a lot of us, it is extremely difficult to be able to view our own life and mirror it and look at it from an author's perspective. But if you are someone who is facing difficulty with still identifying your brand, I can help you with that. As a pageant coach, one of the first things I always tell my clients is to identify their personal brand before they work with me for their interview or their stage presence or their opening speech. Because none of that is going to make sense unless you have a brand that you are trying to develop here. When I work with you, I don't tell you how to answer a question. I tell you how to answer a question based on what your personal brand is. And so I help you identify and build your personal brand. And so if you want to work with me to win your next pageant title, then click on the link in the description box below where you can book a session with me. Now, coming on to the third step, and this part is crucial to building a brand because, like I spoke about in my previous video where I talked about the 5 P's of a personal brand, I did speak about how it is important to remember when it's about the brand and when it's about you. For the same reason, this third step to developing a personal brand has to be to establish a mission. Your brand will receive recognition organically on its own when there is a certain mission, which is not so much about you being the brand, but it's about what the brand stands for. And you can do that by just incorporating the 5 simple C's to your brand, which is clarity. Make sure that your brand has a very specific target audience and do not try to cater to everyone. Do not try to make everyone happy while developing your personal brand. Showing up for your brand and having conversations with your target audience is crucial to the conversational element of your brand. The big brands that have loyal audiences are the ones that have a conversational undertone, and it feels as if there is a human being behind the screen. Think of Zomato, for instance, or McDonald's or Burger King and their social media accounts and how they do very clever marketing through simply funny conversations on social media. That's an example to keep in mind. The third C, which is the largest part of your brand, has to be community. Make sure your brand is always looking after its community. Constantly take community feedback when you're in the initial stages of growing your brand, and perhaps even periodically once the brand has grown bigger. The fourth C, content. I don't think I need to explain how important content is these days, especially with most brands having their largest footfall on online platforms and social media pages. Make sure you are always putting out content consistently for your community that gives them the clarity of what the brand is about and that there is always a conversational tone. The fourth step is now about marketing your brand. You may have an amazing brand, but it doesn't matter if people don't know about it. So, to market your brand and to increase the consumer reach, you have to socialize and promote. I say socialize even though a lot of brands are being grown organically, virtually. You can still socialize with online content creators. Make sure you collaborate with other big brands in the same space as yours or just have conversations with them in the comment section. A lot of marketing does not necessarily feel like work, but it's the small steps that you take that gradually evolve your brand and make it more humane and less like a business. And the last step to keep in mind is always think of your brand as a brand palace. And I use the word palace because there can be so many things that your brand can do. Recently, Kim Kardashian made a big branding move where she combined two of her brands, which was Skims, the lifestyle brand, along with her skincare brand, which was also called Skin by Kim Makeup, and how the color palette of both of those brands is now a lot more uniform. As a business owner as well, it's relatively easier to be managing one brand with and one mission statement and a uniform look, and she wants to be recognized for that brand palette and that branding no matter where she goes. And now she has to make less of an effort to try and promote two brands that are both linked back to her. And so, in a way, Kim Kardashian is now on her way to create a brand palace. A lot of the food delivery apps that we have these days also have a travel pillar inside them. And then they also have associations with restaurants. And there's just so many rooms that you can create inside your brand palace. Taking my own brand, Conquer with Nikita Tanwani, as an example, not just do we have our content pillar, which is my YouTube channel, as well as our Instagram page, where we share infinite valuable resources of information for pageant aspirants, but we also have an on ground training academy. We also have a bunch of online courses that we offer, and we are only going to grow further with respect to our virtual and global possibilities. And so the brand palace is in progress. And so these are the 5 steps that you have to follow in order to create a personal brand. And will it happen overnight? Absolutely not. It takes months and years of hard work, of persistence and discipline. to create a personal brand, but because it's going to be your brand, you're going to put your 100% blood and sweat into it because it has your face and your name attached to it. And make sure that your brand is your legacy. If you found this video helpful, then do give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, check the link in the description box below where you can book a one-on-one coaching session with me to help identify your personal brand and a roadmap to further develop it. With that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.